Hello there, everybody, and welcome back to the Doctor's Library. Here we'll be talking about part 4 of The Book Thief. Now, I know that I left you guys in the lurch last week. I had a lot of stuff going on, and my camera for my laptop wouldn't work. I kept clicking it, wouldn't load up, and I now despised it. But I'm still using it because I have yet to find a replacement. So I'm using this for now. It is working right now, so hopefully it'll stay good for the next couple weeks till I can possibly find a replacement, maybe even a better one, so I can get better quality videos out for you guys and better book reviews. Part 4 of The Book Thief. What are you doing? This is probably by far the worst part I've read. Not because it was badly written, but just because of what was in it. I didn't appreciate that, A, Rudy Steiner dies in the beginning of the chapter, in the beginning of the part, and then you explain how he dies at the end. All the crap that happens to Lizelle, Max, and Rudy, and just everything. This was a really bad chapter part for everybody. Why am I calling them chapters? They're not chapters, they're parts. Part 4. How dare you? Was I saying part 4? I meant part 5. Part 5. This is what I get for missing a week, I guess. Missing a one part means screwing up the entire schedule. The first chapter, part 5. The Floating Book, part 1. Where, at the very end, we figure out everything that goes on in this chapter. A book floated down the Emperor River. A boy jumped in, caught up to it, and held it in his right hand. He grinned. A small announcement about Rudy Steiner. He didn't deserve to die the way he did. No, he did not deserve to die at all. If he could have lived forever, that'd be a lot better. No, actually, probably not. But still, if he'd have lived a lot longer, then that'd be better. But no, this guy, this Mark Zuzak, has to be a jerk-face and kill off Rudy Steiner and tell us right at the beginning of part 5. And now we have to sit here, read all these chapters, and figure out what happened, what brought this up, on how he died. Marcus Zuzak. He even says it right here. Of course, I'm being rude, I'm spoiling the ending. Not only the entire book, but of this particular piece of it. And so after that, this chapter, the gambler, the seven-sided die, we go into a quick synopsis, month by month, pretty much, of what goes on with Max and Lizelle in the Huberman household. Like, it starts off the haircut, mid-April 1941. It goes over Max getting his first haircut while he's at the Hubermans, and how Lizelle does it, and she does as best she can. And the next part of this chapter is the newspaper, early May. There's a Jew in my basement. Hey. This one's called The Newspaper, where Lizelle, while on her laundry route, she goes out and finds newspapers and brings them back to Max for the news, just the reading material, something to keep them busy, the crossword as well. So Lizelle definitely helps Max with that and keeps him company in the basement by going down and either reading with him and Hans, or giving him newspapers, or just hanging out and being awesome, because she's Lizelle and she is awesome. The next part of this chapter is The Weatherman, mid-May, where Max asks Lizelle what the weather's like, and she comes up with, "The sky is blue today, Max, and there's a big long cloud and stretched out like a rope. At the end of it, the sun is like a yellow hole." Max at that moment knew that only a child could have given him a weather report like that. And then he paints that description on the wall for both Lizelle and Max to see. The wall-written words of Max Vandenberg, "It was a Monday, and they walked on a tightrope to the sun." Fantastic line. That is a fantastic line. You give him a slight bit of points back for that, Marcus Zuzak, but screw you. The Boxer, end of May. This goes into what Max thinks about when he's all alone in the basement. He turns off the lights and he just sits there and thinks about being in a boxing ring with the Fuhrer himself, and what it would be like, the crowds and the excitement, everything that goes on in that arena right there. And to start off, the Fuhrer and Max start fighting in the normal fight, with the Fuhrer hammering at the Jew constantly, and then Max turns it around and starts hitting the Fuhrer, Then after a while, Adolf Hitler gets up on the ropes and urges everybody up to take their own swing at the Jew for stealing their jobs and invading their homes and whatever the Fuhrer says that invokes them to hate Jews forever. Then he invites everybody in the arena to the ring, and they all wail on the Jew individually and beat him up. So after this, he starts training and getting himself better to pass the time a little bit more, and just to try and keep in shape in case something happens, and again to keep himself busy since he's stuck in the basement for pretty much 24/7. The only time he can really come out is when he's about to go to sleep by the fireplace in the Huberman's bedroom, and then he's right back in the basement to be hidden from the Nazis. The next part of this chapter is The New Dream, a few nights later, which is pretty much Max explaining to Lysel what happens in his thoughts and dreams and fantasies of fighting the Fuhrer. And however, he does change this a little bit when Lysel asks who wins. At first, Max is going to say that nobody wins. Then he looks around and he says, "I do." It was as though he'd opened her palm, given her the words, and closed it up again. The next part, The Painters, early June. This is where he rips off the rest of the pages of Mein Kampf that he took some of them off in part 4 to make a different book and to make some more words and to put some more pages of his own work into those pages of Mein Kampf. Both Hans and Rosa are helping Max when Lysel gets home from school, and Lysel is handed a brush and says, "Come on, come help." And so there's a whole family of all 4 of them painting pages of Mein Kampf, setting them out to dry so that Max can write his own pages and write his own stories. The next part of this, The Showdown, June 24th. This is the part where, while Lysel is at the mayor's house, she's about to leave, but the mayor's wife stops her, and instead of giving her her laundry to be ironed and washed and all that stuff, she instead hands Lysel an envelope and says, "It's for your mama." And Lysel immediately knows what this is, and she immediately gets scared, and she doesn't know how to react. The description: "She was suddenly aware of how empty her feet felt inside her shoes. Something ridiculed her throat. She trembled. When finally she reached out and took possession of the letter, she noticed the sound of the clock in the library." So she starts, like, "Oh God, I just lost our last client. What am I gonna do?" Elon Herman says, "Tell your mama I'm sorry," because they were her last client. They were the only one giving Rosa a steady income for week after week. Elon Herman also offers The Whistler, it's a book that Lysel is currently reading, and the mayor's wife wants Lysel to have it because she's firing her, but she doesn't want her to be completely out. And so after the mayor's wife closes the door, Lysel doesn't leave immediately, but as she's walking home, she gets madder and madder, and she gets enraged, and she clenches the Whistler, and she turns around and raps on the door, and the mayor's wife answers, and she's shocked because she didn't expect to see her again. And Lysel just goes off on her, just rips her a new one. It's devastating. While I was reading this, I was just thinking, oh God, I feel horrible for this woman, but at the same time, oh my God. I'll read it to you because it's just so powerful. "You think," she said, "you can buy me off with this book?" Her voice, though shaken, hooked at the woman's throat. The glittering anger was thick and unnerving, but she toiled through it. She worked herself up even further, to the point that she needed to wipe the tears from her eyes. You gave me this Sauschmesh of a book, and think it'll make everything good when I go and tell Mama that we just lost our last one? While you sit here in your mansion?" The mayor's wife's arms, they hung. Her face slipped. Lysel, however, did not buckle. She sprayed her words directly into the woman's eyes. "You and your husband, sitting up here!" Now she became spiteful, more spiteful and evil than she thought herself capable. The injury of words. Yes, the brutality of words. She summoned them from some place she only now recognized and hurled them at Ilse Herman. It's about time, she informed him, that you do your own stinking washing anyway. It's about time you face the fact that your son is dead. He got killed. He got strangled or cut up more than 20 years ago. Or did he freeze to death? Either way, he's dead. He's dead, and it's pathetic that you sit here, shivering in your own house to suffer for it. You think you're the only one? Immediately, her brother was next to her. He whispered for her to stop, but he too was dead, and not worth listening to. He died in a train. They buried her in the snow. They buried him in the snow. Lysel glanced at him, but she could not make herself stop. Not yet. This book, she went on. She shoved the boy down the steps, making him fall. I don't want it. The words were quieter now, but still just as hard. She threw the whistler at the woman's slippered feet, hearing the crack as it landed on the cement. I don't want your miserable book. Now she managed it. She fell silent. Her throat was barren now. No words from Hans. Her brother, holding his knee, disappeared. God, intense emotion, and just at the time I was reading this aloud to myself because right now I'm the only one in this entire place, and so I was just sitting around on the couch reading it to myself, and I just almost started crying with how much was being thrown at this poor woman. I mean, kind of deserves it, especially when it's pathetic that you sit here shivering in your own home to suffer for it, and you think you're the only one. And the fact that, Lysel is a lot poorer than the mayor and his wife. So, just super sad and super intense. And she gives back the whistler, and she goes home and tells her mother that it was that was Lysel's fault, that she had insulted the mayor's wife, and she told Rosa everything that happened before she got fired. If that makes sense. So she asks Mama to give her a beating. She even gives her all the spoons and says, take your pick, beat me, please. And Rosa's like, I know it wasn't your fault. I know you didn't do that. I know you didn't say that. You couldn't have said that. I know you didn't. And Lysel keeps trying to tell Rosa that she did say those things. And Rosa still doesn't believe her. And she doesn't whip her and all this kind of stuff. So she just an intense part of that chapter. At night, while Hans Huberman and Lysel were reading, Lysel perks up when Hans is about to go to sleep and says, I think I'm going to hell. And of course, Hans, knowing exactly what to say, says nothing until Lysel kisses Hans's cheek and says, you need a shave. You're not going to hell, Papa said. So, again, Hans Huberman, probably the best character ever, because he just knows what to say and how to handle any situation, because he is just awesome like that.